Exodus chapter 1. These are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt. Each man and his family came with Jacob. Reuben, Simon, Leah, and Judah. Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Then Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. So all the descendants who came out of the loins of Jacob were servant descendants. Joseph was already in Egypt. Now Joseph died together with all his brothers and all that generation. And the children of Israel bore fruit, and increased in abundance, and multiplied, and were very numerous, so that the land was full of them. Then a new king arose in Egypt, who did not know Joseph. He said to his people, "Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more numerous and stronger than we are. Come on, let us work wisely with them. Otherwise they will multiply, and it will come to pass that in case of war they will also go themselves to our enemies and fight against them and drive them out of the land." Therefore they put out workmen out of them, that they might load them with burdens, and they built the cities of Pithom and Ramses for the treasures of the Pharaoh. But the more they annoyed him, the more they multiplied and magnified themselves. Therefore they raged against the children of Israel. Therefore the Egyptians, by their cruelty, enslaved the children of Israel. They made them weary of their lives with hard labor in clay, brick, and all the work in the fields, with all kinds of slavery which they imposed on them with great cruelty. The king of Egypt commanded, "You halflings of the woman of Hebrew, one of whom was called Nisra and the other Poi," and said, "When you do the offices of midwife, do the woman of Hebrews, and see them on their side. If it is a son, you shall kill him, but if it is a daughter, you shall let her live." However, you Midianites feared God and did not do as the king of Egypt had commanded them, but preserved the sons of men. Then the king of Egypt called the midwives and said to them, What did you do this and preserve the men children?" The midwives answered, "Pharaoh, because the women of Hebrew are not like the women of Egypt, for they are delicate and are disappointed as soon as the midwife reaches them." And therefore God prospered the midwives, and the people multiplied and were numerous, because the midwives feared God and made them houses. Then Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, "Every male child that has been delivered, throw him into the river, but reserve every male child for others." Chapter 2. Then a man of the house of Leu took the wife, a daughter of Leu, and the woman gave birth and bore a son. And when she saw that he was handsome, she hid him for 3 pennies. But when she could hid him no longer, she took for him an ark of reeds, sprinkled it with ooze and pitch, laid the child in it, and placed it amongst the rushes by the bank of the river. His sister stayed away to see what would happen to him. Then Pharaoh's daughter went down to wash it in the river, and the maidens walked beside the river. And when she saw the ark among the bulrushes, she sent her teacher to fetch it. Then she opened it and saw that it was a child, and behold, the child wept. She had compassion on it and said, "This is one of the sons of Hebrews." Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and get you a nurse of the Hebrew woman to nurse the child?" Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go." Then the maid went and called the mother of the child, to whom Pharaoh's daughter said, "Take this child and suckle it for me, and I will reward you." Then the woman took the baby and nursed it. Now the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter. He was like a son, and she named him Moses, because she said, "I brought him up out of the water in those days when Moses had grown up." He went to his brothers and looked at their burdens. He also saw an Egyptian striking a Hebrew, one of his brothers. He looked around, and seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. On the second day he went out, and behold, the 2 Hebrews were fighting, and he said to the one who had done the wrong, "Why do you strike your fellow?" And he answered, "Who made you a man of authority and a judge outside of us?" Do you think to kill me as you killed the Egyptian? Then Moses feared and said, Surely this thing is known. Now Pharaoh, knowing this fact, sought to kill Moses. Therefore Moses fled from Pharaoh and settled in the land of Midian, sitting by a well. The priest of Midian had some daughters, who came and drew water and filled troughs to water their father's sheep. Then the shepherd came and drove them out, but Moses stood up and defended them, and watered their sheep. When they come to Reuel, their father, he said, How is it that you have come so soon? They answered, A man from Egypt took the cattle out of the shepherds, and drew enough water and watered the sheep. Then he said to his daughters, Where is he? Why have you abandoned him? Call him, that he may eat bread. Moses agreed to dwell with the man, who gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter, and she bore a son, whom he called Gershom. For he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. Then as time passed, the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed for slavery and wept. And their weeping for slavery reached God. God heard their weeping and remembered his agreement with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So God looked upon the children of Israel and had respect for them. When Moses guarded the flock of Jethro, his father, priest of Midian, and led the flock to the back of part of the wilderness and came to the mountain of God, Horeb, then the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire from the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush was burning with fire, and the bush was not consumed. Moses said, Now I will turn around to see this great sight, for the bush does not burn. When the Lord heard that he had turned to see, God called to him from the middle of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he answered, I am here. Then he said, Do not come here. Take your shoes off your feet, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Then Moses had hid his face, for he was afraid to look at God. Then the Lord said, I have seen the troubles of my people who are in Egypt, and I have heard their weeping because of their masters. For I know their sorrow. Therefore I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them out of the land to a good and great land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, that is, to the place of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, and Perizzites, the Hittites, and the Jebusites. And behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression of which the Egyptians oppressed them. Come therefore, and I will send you to Pharaoh, that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, Who am I to go to Pharaoh and bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? He answered, Surely I will be with you, and this shall be for you the sign that I have sent for you. After you have brought the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God on this mountain. Then Moses said to God, Behold, when I come to the children of Israel and say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, if they say to me, What is his name? What shall I say to them? God answered Moses, I am what I am. And he also said, Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. And God spoke again to Moses, Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, The Lord God of your fathers, God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my remembrance of all ages. Go and gather the elders of Israel, and say to them, The Lord God of your fathers, the God Jacob and Isaac and Jacob appeared to me, and said, I have remembered you, and what was done to you in Egypt. Therefore I said, I will bring you out of the afflictions of Egypt to the land of Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, to a land flowing with milk and honey. Then they shall obey your journey, and you and the elders of Israel shall go to the king of Egypt, and say to him, The Lord God of the Hebrews has met with us. Therefore we beseech you to let us go 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go except by a strong hand. Therefore I will stretch out my hand and strike Egypt with all my wonders, that I will do in its centers after he will let you go. I will cause this people to be sold by the Egyptians, that when you go, you will not leave empty. For every woman shall ask her neighbor, and she who sojourns in her house for silken jewelry and gold jewelry and garments. And you shall put them on your sons and daughters, and you shall fleece the Egyptians. Then Moses answered, But behold, they will not listen to me or heed my speech, for they will say, The Lord has not appeared to you. The Lord said to him, What is that in your hand? And he answered, A rod. Then he said, Throw it on the ground. So he threw it on the ground, and it turned into a serpent. And Moses fled from it. Then the Lord said to Moses, Put forth your hand and take it by the neck. So he put forth his hand and took it, and it turned into a rod in his hand. Do this so that he may see that the Lord God of the fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has appeared to you. The Lord further said to him, Now thrust your hand into your bosom. He thrust his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out again, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. He said to him again, Put your hand in your bosom again. Then he put his hand in his bosom again, and drew it out of his breast, and behold, it became like another flesh. So shall it be, if they do not follow you and obey the word of the first sign, but follow themselves by the word of the second sign. But if they do not abide by these two signs, and do not obey your sign, then you shall take water from the river and sprinkle it on the dry land. So the water you take from the river will turn into blood on the dry land. But Moses said to the Lord, O my Lord, am I not eloquent, nor have I ever been eloquent, nor am I yet eloquent? Since thou hast spoken to thy servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of language. Then the Lord said to him, Who gave man a mouth? Who created the dumb, the deaf, the one who sees, or the blind? Am I not the Lord? Therefore go now, and I will be with your mouth, and teach you what you say. But he said, O my Lord, depart, I pray thee, by the hand of him to whom thou must depart. Then the Lord became very angry with Moses and said, I do not know that Aaron, your brother, the Levite, will speak himself, for it is true that he has also come here to meet you. And when he sees you, he will be glad in his heart. Therefore you shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. And I will be with your mouth, and with his mouth, and teach you what you are to do. He shall be your mouthpiece to the people, and he shall be as your mouth, and you shall be to him as God. Moreover, you shall take this rod in your hand, with which you shall do miracles. Then Moses went and returned to Jethro and his father in Los Angeles, and said to him, Please let me go back to my brothers who are in Egypt, and see if they are still alive. Then Jethro said to Moses, Go in peace, for the Lord has said to Moses and Midian, Go away, return to Egypt, for they are all dead, who wanted to kill you. And Moses took his wife and his children and put them on a plank and went backward toward the land of Egypt. And Moses took the rod of God in his hand, and the Lord said to Moses, When you have entered and returned to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders that I have put in your hand. But I will harden his heart, and he will not let the people go. Then thou shalt say unto the Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, my firstborn. Therefore I say to you, Let my son go, that he may serve me. If you refuse to let him go, behold, I will kill your son, your firstborn. While he was on the way, the Lord met him and would have killed him. Then Pharaoh took a sharp knife, cut off her son's foreskin, threw it at his feet, and said, You are indeed a bloody husband to me. She turned away from him. Then she said, O bloodthirsty husband, because of circumcision, Then the Lord said to Aaron, "Go meet Moses in the wilderness." And he went and met him on the mount of God and kissed him. Then Moses reported to Aaron all the words of the Lord who had sent him and all the signs which he had charged him. So Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the children of Israel. Aaron reported all the words the Lord had spoken to Moses and performed the miracles before the people. And the people rejoiced when they heard that the Lord had visited the children of Israel and had looked upon their tribulation. They prostrated themselves and worshipped.